Thank you so much for hitting play on a new episode of The Luke Kelly Show. No wife with me today. She doesn't have any smut. I don't have any smut for you. She said out of the last 12 books that she's read, not a single one has been smutty. That's so disappointing. Where are you supposed to get all your great smut material? I guess that means that you actually have to pick up a book and start reading all the smutness. You know what I thought about once before? What stops people from going to like a Barnes & Noble? What's the other bookstore? Or is Barnes & Noble the only one that's still around? For some reason, I think it's the only one around still. Gosh, what was the other one besides Barnes & Noble? Because Barnes & Noble is not the one that I used to go to. And I'll tell you the weird story on why I used to go to a bookstore. Bookstores, let's Google this really fast. Not Barnes & Noble. I can't remember what it's called. It's totally slipping my mind. Bookstore chains. Let's see. I think Amazon might have bought them out a long time ago. Borders. That's the one that I was looking for. Borders was close to a Sports Mart or Sports Authority that I used to go to as a kid. And if I was ever at that sports store and I had to go to the bathroom, if I ever had a dookie, I always went in there. Because for whatever reason, bookstores always have nice bathrooms. So if you're traveling and you see a little section off of the interstate, they have a nice little shopping center, they have a Barnes & Noble or some sort of bookstore, just pull off there and go use the restroom. Go number 2 in there. It's going to be better than any single restroom that you'll see at a gas station. Because you know, gas station bathrooms are absolutely gross. But what I was going to say is when I was a kid and I would go into Borders, they always had some sort of coffee shop in the inside. Most of the time, I think it was Starbucks. But it would have a nice lounge area, and people would just be reading in there the whole time. Like, this is a bad business philosophy. You're inviting people to come in and read at a bookstore. That doesn't sound like the best way to try and sell books. To me, just have books, nowhere to sit, don't have a coffee shop, get the hell out of there. Because if you offer someone a comfortable space to go and read, that's why they have libraries, right? They're going to sit down and read the book. Now, it might be a lot to try and read a book in one day and maybe a few hours, but if you have no distractions, if you just say, you know what, I'm going to put my phone down for the next 3 hours and not have one single care in the world, there you go. Maybe you can get through a book in 3 hours. I don't know. I just always thought it was odd. Because there's people reading and reading. They would be taking notes. If you go in there and study for a test when you're in college, that's one thing. I understand that. But I always see people with books at a coffee shop inside of a bookstore. I would like to be the owner of the coffee store inside of a bookstore. That seems like that actually makes more sense. Have all these bookworms devoting their time, buying more coffee. They're sitting there for hours. Yeah, you're going to need a refill eventually. And I would charge for water. No free water cups. I'll give you 1 cup of coffee for a refill. You get 1 refill free. But after that, you got to pay for everything, including the water. Listen, I always promote drinking water, but as a business owner, it's not effective. Got to charge you. That cup, that costs me money. I'm going to pass it on to you. You're the one that's ruining the environment. You're the one that should feel bad by buying hardcover books and real books. All books are probably made out of recycled paper. I'm just an idiot. That was just a riff to start off the show. It's not exactly what we're going to be talking about the whole time, but that's just the way that I went. I have my dog barking in the background. I have a train going by, so my brain is all over the place currently. But I did see a big headline before I sat down to record this podcast. Tom Brady and his wife Gisele Bündchen, I believe. Bündchen? I don't know. It's a foreign name. I don't know how to correctly pronounce her name. But it has come out, and this was kind of out there for a while now, that Tom Brady and Gisele have been living in separate houses for a while. Maybe like the last 2 months or so. And everyone said the reason why the relationship started to get rocky, Tom went back to go and play football. He was retired for 45 days. That's it. 45 days. You don't even get a full taste of what retirement is in 45 days. To me, I wouldn't even have a new routine down yet. I wouldn't have had the option to go and walk around all of the malls that I would want to go and walk to, like go and walk, scout, and see if that's going to be my walking mall yet. But Tom Brady, in 45 days, decided that he needed to go back and play football. That was probably a little rush of a judgment on his part. Like, he didn't need to do anything else. He accomplished everything that he could in football. I guess the only thing that he wanted to do was just win more, be the guy known for playing the longest. Cool. I wouldn't want any of those awards. I wouldn't want to have any of those history book moments in my career, being the old guy. Because you know what eventually happens? You become the old guy that everybody says should have stayed retired. That's what happens. And he was going to have a sweet new job all lined up to be on NFL on Fox and be one of their broadcasters. He had it all lined up. That job's a lot easier than being in the NFL. And I shouldn't say that because it probably requires the same amount of travel. But you could be home pretty much all day until you have to hit the road. In the morning, you could work from home, you could drop the kids off at school, and that's where this whole thing stems from. Gisele kind of wanted Tom to be at home with the kids now. She saw it. She's like, Tom, you've achieved everything that you possibly could. Gisele has achieved a lot in her career. I mean, hell, she's made more money in her life than Tom Brady has. And it was a huge power couple. But the news that broke just before I started to record this podcast was Tom Brady and Gisele both have gotten divorce lawyers. They haven't gotten divorced just yet, but they have gotten lawyers. Whoever is their source sucks. Well, no, they're doing a good job. But I'm saying the person sucks because they're a horrible friend. Leaking all this information to the tabloids. To be honest, if I was Gisele or Tom, I'd be like, you are no longer involved in my life. You think that you are getting some tens of millions of dollars out of this because you're a good person, you're helping us out, but here you are betraying us, leaking all this stuff out to the not paparazzi, but TMZ, all these different websites like E and stuff that get clicks, and all they want to see is this fail, so that way they have something to talk about. Like, I would cut that person out of my life completely. And I honestly think if I was a celebrity, I would always have somebody in my group that whenever something big happened, I would only tell someone who I really trusted. And then I would reveal some of the details to other people that are in my inner circle, but I still have some trust issues with. I would feed them some of the information, but give them some little details that are wrong. And I would tell those people, the ones that I'm kind of on the fence on, if they have my back completely, I would give them little details that were different in their stories. So that way, when an article was written, I could see where they're like, hey, the source has come out and said this, this, and this. And I see that bit of information that I told you that was a complete made-up lie. Like, okay, yeah, you're definitely out of the circle of trust now. You're on the outside looking in. I'm going to be in my glass house, putting my ass up to the window and mooning you. Have you ever done that before? Moon someone? I feel like that's so old school to moon someone. But for whatever reason, when I was growing up as a kid, I would moon people all the time. It was one of my best traits as a little kid, mooning people. I thought it was hilarious. Matter of fact, I still find mooning very hilarious. I don't think it's done anymore. It's probably not appropriate to do, but it was funny at the time. When you're 6, 7 years old, pulling down your pants and someone seeing your ass, like, yeah, that's funny. I'll never forget one time, my brothers were kind of egging me on a little bit. You know, I'm the little guy. I'm number 5 of 5. So my brothers would always put me in situations that weren't ideal. They always tried to get me in trouble because they always viewed that I never got in trouble, right? But I remember the one time that they did egg me on to moon someone in our living room, in our huge picture window. They're like, yeah, moon somebody when they drive by. Do it. Come on. We always did it. And then all of a sudden, here I am. They're like, the next car that drives by, you got to moon them. So I do it because I think it's funny and I don't care. Turns out to be one of my dad's buddies. When my dad gets home, he has a little conversation with me. Boy, what were you doing mooning people as they were driving by? I'm like, excuse me? I wasn't mooning anyone. Just seeing if our windows worked. Seeing if they're as clear as they're supposed to be. That's what little me was like. Just mooning people. Matter of fact, when I was real little, if I had pants on at all, that was a good thing. So anyway, I don't know how we got into all that, but hopefully Gisele and Tom get everything sorted out. I mean, I could really care less. I know this sounds bad, but I could care less if they stay married or not. They're both well off. I feel like both of them are still kind of happy with where they're at. Obviously, Tom is, because he was selfish enough to be like, yeah, I got to give this a go. Like, I don't care. that they're getting married. Like, both of them are going to be able to rebound so fast. They're going to be at parties with other A-listers in weeks, sleeping around in the little celeb group. They're going to be A-okay. That's the real reason why I don't feel bad when celebrities get divorced. It's like, do you know what they're going to do? Do you know who they're going to run around with? Some other very elite people that no other regular person is ever going to have the opportunity to just go and try to pursue a relationship with this person. Like, they get that opportunity, and they get it all lined up for them. That's why I don't feel bad. Those marriages never last anyway. I mean, there's been a very few amount of big celebrity relationships, marriages that have lasted. Most of them don't last that long. They're always being too successful. Got busy schedules. They don't want to give up what they're doing. It's no surprise. No surprise at all. So it's kind of been slow in the headlines in the last few days. So I've been thinking of some things to talk about. And I've had this conversation a few times with a few different people. But most recently, I had this conversation at work. I was talking to a whole bunch of people at work about how our team should just adopt the NWO Wolfpack as our team song. Our team name is the Wolfpack. And our boss's last name, I don't even know how you pronounce it, but it has wolf in it. So that's why we're the Wolfpack. And I was telling somebody a couple of weeks ago, I was like, hey, we need to have a song for our team, and it needs to be the NWO Wolfpack song. And they're like, what? And I'm like, listen, don't judge me on this. But the NWO Wolfpack song, it's a banger. It slaps. Even if it wasn't a wrestling theme song, I would be a person to be like, yeah, this is good. I'll let you give it a little listen. Like, listen to that. Little me love this song.
Wolfpack is back, cause I'm mass destruction. Guess who's here? The bad boys of wrestling. Testing competition, win the war, that's their mission. Not no mercy, see the rings like the street. If you don't know, you better find out the Wolfpack. Here to prove a point, number one, best believe that you don't want to tussle with them or be there for them. Come in the ring with them, you're never walking out again. Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
Dude, I could see me, windows down, bumping this song back in the 90s.
Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
Like, I wouldn't be afraid to tell people that I like this song. Like, it is that good. There's a lot of wrestling theme songs that are really good. And I like I said, I most recently talked about it with some people at work because I'm like, hey, this song's really good, and everyone agreed. I played it for them today at work. And they're like, that song is fantastic. I would have never guessed that was a wrestling song. And then I was telling them about how I had a conversation on what song I would use if I was a bullpen pitcher in Major League Baseball. If I was coming out of the bullpen, if I were a closer, what song would be my song to come out to? I had one buddy in college that was a bullpen pitcher, came out, and of course, this was his.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
That's just a classic. When you think of wrestling back in the day, like you think of the Hulk Hogan song. That song, just super epic. Like me and my buddy that were talking about this, we're throwing out theme song after theme song after theme song. And the Shawn Michaels song was another one that came out too.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
I always strutted around the house to this song.
That drives a girl wild. I've got the moves that really move 'em. I said chill up and down their spine. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy.
As an 8-year-old kid, why wouldn't you want to be known as the sexy boy? Just imagine how hyped up you would be if you were in the crowd at a Major League Baseball game. And the closer comes out, and all you hear is Shawn Michaels' theme song coming out.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
I would flip my shit. I would be like, this guy is my new favorite player. I don't even care if he would be on the team that I hated most. If he came out to that song, that would be pretty epic. But there's one other one. It doesn't really have any words to it at all. It's just iconic, and I think it gives it that very elite kind of sound, like you're better than anyone. So that's why I think I would want this song most if I were going to be a closer in Major League Baseball.
Woo!
At that point, that's when I would start exiting the bullpen, walking slowly to the mound. Not only would I be walking to the mound, do you know how baseball pitchers in between innings put on their jacket, keep their arm warm? If you're not a big baseball fan, you might not know that. But if I were the closer, I would get my jacket all bedazzled up, just like one of Ric Flair's robes. And when I would get to the mound, I would unzip it, take it off, and just let that song play. And then after I get that final out, if I were the closer, get that final out recorded of the game, just let out one big woo! That would be legit. That would be the cherry on top. If you're a baseball purist, you might hate that idea. But all I have to say about that is it would be epic. To see baseball transition into that, being a little showmanship. You see it in the NFL after they score. They have a touchdown dance, some sort of celebration. Baseball needs more of that swagger. That's why I think if they did fun shit like that, it would bring a lot more eyes, a lot more casual eyes. If you were throwing on the TV and you saw someone with crazy antics, so over the top, wouldn't you stop and watch and be like, what the hell is this guy doing? And then you're like, he has me captivated. The next time that this team plays, I want to watch him play. I want to watch him come out of the bullpen. I mean, it's been happening this year in Major League Baseball. with Edwin Diaz. He is the closer of the New York Mets. If you don't know, this is iconic right now in the baseball world. And if you're on TikTok, you probably know this as well. This is all over the place.
And now Timmy Trumpet takes center stage as Edwin Diaz gets ready to come in looking for a save.
The buildup. So suspenseful. This has me pumped up. I'm dancing in my chair, shaking my ass cheeks right now. If I'm not careful, I might break my chair. That's how much I'm shaking my ass right now. Like that gets me hyped up right there. If I heard that at the club, I would be shaking my ass up on top of the bar. I don't do that sort of thing, but that's what I would do. Maybe we just need more entrance musics in life. How can we incorporate walking into a building and making you walk through the doors of that building more epic? So that way someone remembers you. Start carrying around a Bluetooth speaker. Like back in the day, you would have to carry a boombox with you in order to do that. Now you could just get like a Bose Bluetooth speaker and just connect it to your waistband as you walk in. That might look a little weird, but it would be awesome. People would always remember you. You got to have something that you're known for. That's a lot cooler than being the weirdo that people remember for, I don't know, having like wearing 2 watches or something like that. Like you don't want to be known as that person because you're kind of the joke at that point. You don't want to be the joke. But if you walk into a building and you have a really good song, people are like, yeah. The last time they walked in here, I was going crazy because they had trumpets playing all over. That dude came in, he had Ric Flair's theme song playing. I had to stand up because I felt like I was in the presence of greatness hearing that song. I'm just saying, I think we should. If you're on board with that, give me a hell yeah. If you're driving your car right now, just give me a little beep beep. Honk your horn. I hope your horn doesn't sound like that. Beep beep. If it does, then you need to get a new car horn. Because that's not going to scare anyone. Not going to scare anyone at all. I didn't think that I was going to be able to riff for as long as I did on this podcast. I hope it didn't sound like I was rambling too much on this episode. I didn't have a lot to talk about. I didn't. I usually on Wednesdays I bank on having a smut tale, talking to Nora about one other subject. But it's just been slow. Just been slow around here. Okay, I'm not singing. I don't need to sing anymore. Coming up on Monday's episode, I'll have another top 3 for you. Don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, but I will get you another episode on Monday. I don't let you down, and it's hard to believe how many episodes we are in to this podcast. I believe this is episode number 58. Let me double check my math there for you. Never been good at math. I just actually need to bring up my folder here to see. Yeah. No, this will be episode number 59. So that means on Monday, we'll have the 60th episode. Oh, yeah. I'm loving it. I love recording these things. So I'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for showing up today. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. It's the Luke Kelly Show.